Communities of faith are the safe places where people can actualize their fully divine selves. Your chalice circles and seminarium group give you the opportunity and the tools for doing that work together. So now for the cosmogenetic principle of communion. Cosmogenesis is organized by communion. To be is to be related. For relationship is the essence of existence. In that very first instant when the primitive particles rushed forth, every one of them was connected to every other one of them in the entire universe. Communion is the extension of ourselves beyond ourselves and consciously being part of all that was and will ever be. After all, we are embedded in a universe that is a communion of subjects, each self-organizing within the context of everything else. We come into existence through interaction. The John Denver song continues, not in the card, but it continues. For oh, I love the life within me. I feel a part of everything I see. And oh, I love the life around me. A part of everything is here in me. While this sounds like a mystical experience, it is also biologically accurate. At the deep level, each living thing is implicated in every other. Each suffering, each extinction affects and impoverishes us all. The capacity for organisms to evolve thus depends on their capacity for communication. Ultimately, it is not the individual species that evolve as much as living systems connected interdependently within a context of the whole. The interdependent web of all existence that we claim respect for in our seventh principle is more than a metaphor. It is a profound reality, a reality in which everything affects everything else. Thou canst not stir a flower without troubling a star, the poet Francis Thompson warned us. And cell biologist Lynn Margulis has shown that natural selection has more to do with cooperation than with competition. Consciously realizing that we live in an alive universe and that life thrives not in isolation, but in the capacity to relate, illustrates a Bantu proverb that translates, I am because we are. In short, the universe evolves into beings that are different from each other and that organize themselves. But in addition to this, the universe advances into community, into a differentiated web of relationships among sentient centers of creativity. In other words, cosmogenesis is simply becoming, a continual becoming that we are invited to consciously participate in. For now, however, I'm going to close with a poem written by a friend of mine in Maine. It's called the word. I'm going to read it. It's quite long. And it's the word, and is you are. Some of you have probably heard that. By Jim Glenn Thatcher. Before the beginning there was no thing, not time, nor light, nor space. A formlessness without measure, neither great nor small, nor finite nor infinite. And from that no thing formed one atom, the egg of existence, matter imagining itself into being. And within that atom curled the word, the primal noun, the quantum verb of causation, the metaphor of metaphors, the lingua spiritus of all things yet to become, the mind of cosmos, dreaming in the promised joy of its substance. And then there was light, the waiting birth of energy, conceiving itself in particle and wave, the birth of being from nothingness itself, a slow burgeoning fruit budding from the chrysalis of idea, swelling, bursting into flower, into a clarity from which was created the possibility of all things within it, the word first shifting and chirping and chipping at its shell. Millennia fled before memory, eons passed without witness. Thus did the word become itself, waiting itself. Is patience, filling with passion. The patience of is tireless. The tirelessness of fills all potential, broods and waits in all things still yet to become. Is the essence of the essential living, essence waiting to become urge. When perceived in fear, spreads destruction, is destruction itself. When perceived in light, manifests in nobility of spirit, in creation, in courage. Is cunning, the phantom precursor of cleverness. Holds shy of consciousness, wishing to remain in the primordial. Slurs in the drunk, purrs in the lover, dreams in the sleeping soul. Blooms quietly in desolation, in emptiness. Sleeps in ruins, dreams in abandoned places. Wanders in the desert wind, vitalizes the wilderness with its thought, with the vast and boundless dancing of mind. Flares in the magnetic flame of deep earth, manifests in the fiery rivulet of molten gold, seeking its way upward toward light, even as it cools into a vein of rich and amnesic ore. It was this latent memory of gold which the mind of the alchemist sought, unaware of its origins or the true nature of its quest. Is born into the quivering cell, into life, multiplicity, growth, purpose, sentience, death. Returning to the soil, hardens in the sediment, metamorphoses life into stone, moment into eon. Ticks in the clock, biding its time. Denies its existence, disguises itself as delusion, cloaks itself as a lie. Conceals itself as the conceit of the poet, the furtive linking of a too fertile mind, a febrile answer to the curse of the unanswerable question. Was there in the first gifts of consciousness, risen to the gods of rivers, of beasts, of earth and grain, and the knowledge of their use, in spirits of place and powers of purpose. Entered the dreams of Gilgamesh and Ikendu, singing their lives in blood and in being, blessing their city with the preconscious memory of its name. Raised the first towns, dreaming geometry and structure, filling minds with the need to build and to order, to concentrate and refine, to perfect and define. Rose from the dark earth of excavation into the light of scholarship, where it was betrayed by intellect, whored by ambition. The of the ancients was not the of the philologist, the archaeologist, the historian. Is the hope of the past, the memory of the future. Breathes its word by its nature, gurgles in the voice of the infant. Is the impulse of tale, of saga and epic. Strikes the spark of the brimstone of literature. This is also the urge of irony, of satire. Delights in the jealous arrogance of the poet who sings praises as though were for poets alone. Gets the joke, and it's not on finds its way, filling all things sentient and all things non-sentient, organic and non-organic, all things born of becoming. Rises in the forces lifting from the warm earth, drifts in the clouds, falls again earthward with the healing rain, the destroying storm, the inexorable passage of flood and fertility. Slumbers in the slow-moving glaciers, the crush of pack ice, the millennial depth of polar snows, smiling in its dream, stirring in its sleep. Flows from the springs, drifts in the deep lakes, animates the trout and the bullhead, the protozoan and the mollusk. Nurtures the oceans, curls in their currents, surges the depths of deep welling sea. Breathes through the gills of the cruising shark, whispers seductively in the silver trail of the whale's wake. Turns slowly in the orbit of the night-riding moon, waxing and waning, pulling the tides of ocean and mind through the parallax ellipses of unending time. Pulses in the quasar, throbs in the heart. Is the blood of light, the light welling in the pulsing blood. Orders disorder, causes the antagonism of opposites, the balance of oppositions. Suffers in the shadowed soul, heals in the balming light, creates pain and sucrees from pain, fills the heart with terror and tenacity, with horror and calm, all for the way of its own purpose, all for the flow of becoming. Murmurs through the course of my blood, whispers these lines into being, fills my mind with their sound. Whispers, gurgles, murmurs, lurks, urges, pulses, breathes, nurtures all things through their being, fills all things with its song. Let us pause for a moment for silent reflection.